The great Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "The key is to keep organization just with individuals who inspire you, whose presence calls forward your best." You've most likely heard the truism you're the normal of, the Five Nation you spend the most time with. Well, today we will investigate that thought through an unemotional focal point. We will examine the 7 kinds of individuals who can wreck your advancement in apathetic way of thinking and how to explore these difficult connections before we start. If you would like the video with the goal that you would be able to assist me with keeping on spreading the apathetic theory. In the event that you are not bought in, I suggest you to buy in and actuate the ringer, so you miss no video. Type of people to avoid. Number 1, the complainer. Kind of individuals. Number 1, the grumbler. We as a whole have that companion, relative, or colleague who appears to pick apart all that, whether it's the climate, their work, or even the food at a famous cafe. They never miss invaluable chance to communicate their disappointment. Now you could ponder, for what reason should this worry me? I can just overlook them. Well, that is easy to talk about, not so easy to do. Predictable openness to such antagonism drainingly affects your psychological prosperity. It's much the same as a defective spigot, gradually exhausting your repository of profound energy. Stoicism trains us to zero in on significant arrangements as opposed to abiding on issues. For instance, envision you're teaming up on a task with a person unending whiner. Each gathering turns into a debilitating meeting of grievances with practically no productive exchange. The influence the group's assurance declines. You're derailed seeing as noteworthy arrangements, and you'll probably find yourself progressively embittered with the undertaking and perhaps even life in general. So how does emotionlessness assist us with managing a grumbler? There are a few methodologies you can utilize. First, breaking point your openness to this individual at whatever point you can, on the off chance that that is unrealistic. Maybe in light of the fact that they're a relative or partner, then your subsequent choice is to intellectually distance yourself during their tirades. Consider their grievances a passing storm, clearly and agitating at the end of the day, impermanent and weak against the resolute mountain that is your own inward peacefulness. Your third choice is to control the discussion towards arrangements, or to switch up the conversation to something else valuable to cite Marcus Aurelius. You have control over your brain, not outside occasions. Understand this, and you will track down strength. This immortal, indifferent insight empowers us to perseveringly monitor our psychological harmony, guaranteeing that the cynicism from persistent whiners doesn't digress us from our emotionless way of strength and temperance. Kind of individuals to stay away from. Number 2, the show magnet. Envision you're exploring your life as in the event that it were a boat cruising through quiet waters. However, at that point, you experience the whirlpool known as the show magnet. This individual appears to have a ceaseless series of emergencies, clashes, or contentions. Furthermore, similar to a whirlpool, they have a disrupting skill to suck you into their vortex of confusion. You may at first end up drawn to the show magnet's energy, confusing it with energy or fervor anyway. You'll before long understand that being in their circles like exploring a boat through a tempest, debilitating and hazardous. Now, what makes managing show magnets so precarious is that their emergencies can frequently feel like your own. Their mayhem is irresistible. You could try and regard yourself as entangled in clashes that you had no underlying part in. We should take a functional model. You have a companion who has continuous aftermaths with others. We should take a functional model. You have a companion who has continuous aftermaths with others in your group of friends today. They're not conversing with Sarah tomorrow. It's Tom. Your companion comes to you for exhortation, yet you notice that this cycle continues forever, and out of nowhere you find yourself likewise in conflict with Sarah or Tom, since you attempted to mediate. In this case, you could utilize a procedure called intelligent tuning in, as opposed to offering exhortation or taking sides. Reflect their words back to them. For instance, in the event that let's assume I can't completely accept that Sarah said that about me. You could answer with, "So you're feeling deceived by Sarah's words. This procedure permits you to give consistent reassurance without getting snared in the show yourself." Another methodology, and one that may sound illogical, is to turn into specifically inaccessible apathy. Reminds us to esteem our time exceptionally, and at times that implies being inaccessible for others' emergencies, particularly in the event that they're repeating, without goal switch off your telephone during certain hours. Make center periods where you focus exclusively on your work or self-improvement, and spread the word that during these times you're not to be upset. To reword Seneca, genuine satisfaction is to partake in the present without restless reliance upon the future. This can be especially accommodating while managing show magnets rather than kind of individuals to stay away from. Number 3. The cynic. Picture this: you're a craftsman painting a material. Each brush stroke adds tone, profundity, and life to your vision. Enter the cynic. They stroll into your studio, look at your work, and right away start to evaluate it. Are you certain about that tone that doesn't look sensible? You know, most craftsmen never make it right. Their words, like strokes of dark paint, begin to dull your energetic material. This isn't your standard valuable analysis, which can be significant. Rather, it's an industrious quality of uncertainty. Furthermore, pessimism, for instance. Suppose you're invigorated about chasing after another profession. Way you've done your examination addressed, experts in the field, and perhaps indeed even taken a couple of primer courses. At the point when you share your energy with the downer, they rapidly list all the reasons it won't resolve. After another profession. Way you've done your examination addressed, experts in the field, and perhaps indeed even taken a couple of primer courses. At the point when you share your energy with the downer, they rapidly list all the reasons it won't resolve. Suppose you're invigorated about chasing after another profession. Way you've done your examination addressed, experts in the field, and perhaps indeed even taken a couple of primer courses. At the point when you share your energy with the downer, they rapidly list all the reasons it won't resolve. The market is too serious. Do you have the right abilities? Imagine a scenario which you fall flat. Before long enough, their questions begin to feel like your own, and the confident vision you had begins to wobble. Now, how do you manage a cynic, particularly at the point when they may be somebody near you? One flighty, however successful technique is to ask them for guidance as opposed to simply sharing your arrangements or goals. At the point when individuals are placed in a warning job, they're more averse to go after your thoughts altogether and may offer more useful input. Another strategy includes flipping the script through a strategy called positive showdown rather than retaining their antagonism. Challenge them to consider arrangements if they say you'll always be unable to switch vocations at this stage. Counter with intriguing point of view. How would you think somebody could effectively make a vocation change? Then this not just redirects the antagonism, yet in addition empowers a more valuable type of discussion. Recollect the words of the emotionless logician Epictetus. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, with the goal that we can listen 2 times, however much we talk. Listening doesn't mean retaining everybody's pessimism. It implies knowing important contribution from simple commotion. At the point when the downers begin to cloud your material with their shades of uncertainty, take a step back, listen, reflect, and paint your own existence with the varieties that talk to you. Don't allow anybody to turn your dynamic magnum opus into a dull, dark scene. Sort of individuals to keep away from. Number 4, the person in question. Sort of individuals. Number 4, the person in question envision life as a round of chess. Each player has similar pieces and the equivalent objective to checkmate the rivals above all else. You think decisively, make some forfeits, and face a few. Challenges the person in question anyway. Faults the board, the pieces, or even their rival for each unfortunate move they make in their eyes. They're unendingly in checkmate, not on account of their decisions, but since of some outer power neutralizing them. Their story is an endless story of misfortune, with themselves cast as the defenseless hero. I can't excel in my occupation on the grounds that my manager loathes me, or I can't get fit since I have terrible hereditary qualities. Presently noticing that some significant individuals face veritable difficulties and fundamental issues. Anyway, the casualty we're talking about utilizes their dilemma as a long-lasting reason, declining to assume a sense of ownership with their activities or scarcity in that department. You could think of yourself as snared in their storyline, maybe as the supporting person who continually requirements to save them. Suppose you've spent endless hours standing by, listening to a companion fault their perpetual line. Requirements to save them. Suppose you've spent endless hours standing by, listening to a companion fault their perpetual line of bombed connections, totally on their ex-accomplices. Not in the least does this suck up your time. However, it can likewise inconspicuously urge you to embrace a comparative casualty outlook in your own life. So, what's your move while managing a casualty? It very well may be enticing to turn into their deliverer, offering perpetual exhortation and everyday encouragement. In any case, the Stoics would alert against this. They'd suggest drawing a firm limit to safeguard your own psychological state. You could utilize a strategy known as caring. Separation show compassion. What's more, consideration, however, don't attempt to safeguard them from circumstances they need to explore themselves. Offer a tuning-in ear, yet shun turning into their ceaseless issue solver. Marcus Aurelius, when said, "The best vengeance is to be not at all like him who played out the bad form." In the event that you wind up sucked into the casualty story fight, the temptation to become one yourself, assume command over your own game board, make your moves and recollect in the chess round of life being ceaselessly in checkmate is much of the time a decision, not a destiny. Keep your pieces pushing ahead, make vital penances when essential, and play not so much for vengeance or pity, but rather for development and intelligence. Kind of individuals to stay away from. Number 5. The harmful positivist. You know this individual, they're continuously oozing. Daylight rainbows also. Vast floods of emoticons. They're the ones advising you to simply be blissful while you're going through a troublesome period, excusing your sentiments and encounters with a flip gasp wave of glittery good faith. Envision your life as a nursery. There are blossoms, yet there are additionally weeds, and bothers a poisonous positivist anyway, demands disregarding anything that isn't a blossoming. Rose got aphids on your leaves, simply center around the blossoms. Don't let antagonism into your nursery, they'd say. While it sounds inspiring, their methodology can cause you to feel negated and disengaged from the real world. Assume you're going through an intense separation. You're miserable, befuddled, and looking for some profound equilibrium. The poisonous positivist's recommendation. There are a lot of fish in the ocean. Just grin and be cheerful. This kind of inordinate energy disregards the intricacies of human feeling and the real factors of life's challenges. How would you develop your nursery without allowing the poisonous positivists to stomp on it with their unpredictable sprinkling of great energies? As it were, one system is to draw in them in a conversation that embraces both light and shadow. Assuming they express look on the splendid side, at least you have your well-being. You could answer, "Yes, I'm appreciative for my well-being, but at the same time, it's acceptable for me to feel upset about this particular issue." Both can exist together. You can likewise utilize what analysts call profound granularity, the capacity to feel and separate between a wide scope of feelings, both good and negative. At the point when the poisonous positivist pushes you to simply be cheerful, pause for a minute to recognize and mark your nuanced sentiments. "I'm feeling a piece melancholic today because of..." And that is, okay, can be a freeing certification to reference emotionless idea. Seneca once said, "Valid satisfaction is to figure out our obligations toward God and man to partake in the present without restless reliance upon the future." Notice the equilibrium grasping obligations, which aren't generally wonderful, and partaking in the present. An unemotional methodology isn't tied in with zeroing in exclusively on the positive or the negative. It's about embracing life's intricacy with poise. So the following time the poisonous positivist sprinkles their confetti on your painstakingly tended nursery, make a stride back. Recollect a nursery needs both daylight furthermore. Downpour to thrive. Embrace your full close-to-home range and continue to sustain your nursery with the extravagance and intricacy it merits. Kind of individuals to stay away from. #6. The controller. Kind of individuals. Number 6. The controller. Picture your life as a film script. You're the fundamental person, and you have a thought of how your story ought to unfurl, where the turns are, who your partners and guides are, and what your last venture seems to be. Enter the controller, the shadowy maker who inconspicuously reworks your content without you in any event, acknowledging it until one day you find your storyline has gone off. Kilter, the controller, is gifted in the craft of close to home or mental moving. They could utilize bootlicking remorseful episodes, or indeed even trickery to control you toward a path that benefits them. You could have a companion who generally figures out how to inspire you to pay for supper by expressing something like, "You realize I've been having a harsh month and you're so fruitful, it wouldn't amount to anything from your point of view in any case. Would fill my heart with joy better After some time, you track down that your liberality has been exploited, yet calling them out feels awkward on the grounds that they outlined it out of consideration for a companion in need. Dealing with a controller can be an interesting business. One strategy to balance their strategies is what a few specialists call misting. This procedure includes concurring with any reality in the controller explanations, be that as it may, declining to be moved by profound pressure on the off chance that they say you're so fruitful you ought to cover supper. You could answer, "The fact that I've been doing great makes you right in any case. How about we split the bill as we normally do?" Another methodology is to set clear limits and implement them. If the controller believes that you should loan them cash, or then again resolve to assignments you're awkward with, figure out how to say no decisively. Keep your tone quiet and your words clear. "I can't loan cash, however I'm here to offer everyday reassurance," defines a limit while keeping up with the companionship, drawing motivation from unemotional idea. Epictetus cautioned us, "We can't pick our outside conditions, yet we can continuously pick how we answer them." The controller flourishes with your unsurprising responses. They control your thoughtfulness, your culpability, or your craving for endorsement. By deciding to answer in an unexpected way, you're assuming command over your content once more. So on the off chance that you track down a controller prowling in your life, recall that you're the one holding the pen. Your storyline is yours to compose, and keeping in mind that the cast might incorporate an assortment of characters. The hero's excursion, your process, ought to constantly be directed by your own qualities and choices. Recover your content, and don't let anybody control your life story. Sort of individuals to stay away from #7. The time vampire. Sort of individuals. Number 7. The name vampire. Envision your day-to-day, everyday practice as a painstakingly created orchestra. Each instrument addresses an undertaking or responsibility, and when played together, they make an amicable equilibrium. However, at that point, the time vampire participates, shrieking off key, muffling your tune, and turning your wonderful arrangement into dissonant clamor. The time vampire isn't really malevolent. As a matter of fact, they would appear very harmless. It very well may be a partner who continually hinders you with trifling inquiries, transforming your useful working day into a series of divided minutes. Or on the other hand, it very well may be a companion who welcomes you to incalculable get-togethers that you're not keen on, causing you to feel committed to join in and channel your time furthermore. Energy. These associations could appear irrelevant at the time. However, be that as it may, the aggregate impact can be significantly troublesome. So how would you shield your orchestra from being destroyed by a period vampire? One successful system is the Pomodoro strategy, a time usage technique that includes breaking your work into spans, customarily 25 minutes isolated by brief breaks. During these spans, you make it understood that you're not to be upset. This sets a limit that safeguards your most useful times from being snacked away in the event that you wind up managing a social time. Vampire. Recall that maxim no isn't only okay. It's fundamental for your prosperity. Rather than offering elaborate reasons, a straightforward "I value the welcome, yet I can't make it" does the trick. It isn't to decline a greeting dismissal of the individual. It's an attestation of your own necessities and needs in the expressions of Seneca life. On the off chance that masterfully carried out, is adequately long aloofness, instructs us that time is one of our most valuable assets, one that ought to be allotted astutely. Whereupon we paint the picture of our lives and we ought to be exceptionally particular about who and what merits a stroke of our brush in the fantastic arrangement of your life. Ensure each note, each instrument, each song lines up with your more prominent reason. Try not to let the clamorous interruption of a time vampire toss your ensemble into disorder. It's the material. Hold the implement immovably and lead your existence with reason, guaranteeing that each second is a note nicely done in your agreeable showstopper. Reflection upon ourselves as we arrive at the finale of the present investigation into the characters who can wreck our way towards apathetic strength. Furthermore, shrewdness. We should not fail to remember that mindfulness is critical. It's not difficult to perceive these sorts in others. However, the seriously difficult and illuminating errand is to search inside. Are you maybe accidentally playing one of these jobs in another person's life? Recall, aloofness isn't just about Exploring the world is additionally about understanding and working on ourselves on the off chance that the present conversation has started an acknowledgement, a revelation, or even a piece of contemplation. I'd very much want to hear from you in the remarks area. Compose your considerations, share your encounters, and we should participate in a discourse that enhances every one of us. So until next time, may your decisions line up with your ethics, may your activities mirror your insight, and may your life be the showstopper you're intended to make.